Hello, Mike back here again, and today I thought I'd kill two birds with one stone and cover both assemblies and drawings. So, assemblies, as the name suggests, is where you take parts you have already made and put them together. So to start off an assembly, you go to New, Standard IAM. Now that we're in assembly, we're going to need some parts. To do that, click the Place button and find the parts you want. For starters, I'll take the 3 parts I made last time. I'll even throw in a stand to put them on. So, now that the parts are placed, you notice that you can move each one around independently, except for this one right here. That's because it's grounded. Grounded indicated by the pin here. Grounding a component prevents you from moving it in any way. So, it's a good idea to have at least one part in an assembly grounded to give you a reference point. Now that we've gotten to assemblies, I think I should teach you how to navigate your screen. This is the Viewcube. You can click on any face in the Viewcube to go to the corresponding view in the assembly. You can also move manually by zooming in and out with the mouse wheel. You can also pan by holding down the mouse wheel and moving your mouse. You can also rotate manually by holding Shift plus the mouse wheel and moving your mouse that way. And if you ever get lost in the world of Inventor, you can just click the Home button here and find your way back. So the way you assemble parts is by using constraints. Similar to sketch constraints, assembly constraints limit the motion of your components. The constraint button is up here, and you see that the assembly constraints are broken up into different categories. The first one we're going to use is called mate. What a mate constraint is it takes 2 components and it puts one on top of the other, which you'll see in a second. So if I'm on mate constraint, I take this face, put it on this face, you'll see it takes one and puts it on top of the other. And we can see that even further here. If we go to this view, I can move this around as much as I want, and the part will never come off the face of the stand. And we can constrain the square in the same way. The circle is going to be slightly different. Mates with circles reference the axis, as you see here. The issue with that is we don't really want the axis to rest on the stand. We want the bottom to rest on the stand. So what we can do is use an offset. So in this box here, you can type in a distance to offset the constraint by. So now you'll see that the axis of the circle will always stay a ½ inch above the stand. The next constraint we're going to use is flush. Flush takes 2 faces and puts them side by side. So as you see here, now the triangle will stay right next to the stand as well as on top of it. And we can constrain both other parts the same way. And you know what, we can even flush the edge of the square to the edge of the stand to prevent it from moving entirely. Alright, so now all that's left to do is make all the parts adjacent to each other. It's going to be a little tricky now because the circle's in the middle, and we could just use offset mates like we did before, but sometimes you'll have a circular part, you won't know how big it is, and you don't want to take the time to find out, and this is where a tangent constraint comes in handy. Tangent constraint over here takes a circular face and makes a tangent to another face. It could be either flat or circular as well. We can apply that here and here. And now the assembly is fully constrained. Yay. Let's celebrate by changing the color. If you click a part here, you can change its appearance in this drop down here. So I'll just make this red, make this white, make this one blue, and I'll make the stand yellow. And that about covers the basics of assemblies. So now on to drawings. You go to New, Standard IDW. Drawings are useful if you want to take your Inventor models and actually make them, turning your ideas into tangible results. Drawings for parts include orthographic projections, multiple 2D views, and dimensions. Starting off a drawing begins by choosing the part you want. Click Base View here, and this window pops up. recent files are in this dropdown. You can also browse by clicking this button here. So once you have the part you want, you need to choose the base view. The common views are over here in this list. You can also have a custom view by clicking this button here and navigating around. You can also change the scale here to control the size. Right now I'm just going to keep that at 5. And now, in addition to the 2D views, you'll need dimensions to find out how big your part is once you're making it. So dimensions are over here under the Annotate tab. Dimensions will need to cover everything about the part in regard to its size. Dimensions can be linear, they can be angular, and they can be circular, which you'll see soon. So now that I have a drawing for one of the parts, what I'll do is I'll make a new sheet so we can fit more parts. So next comes the circle. Go back to place views, base view, go get the circle, place the views down, go back to annotate, and now you'll see the circular dimensions I mentioned earlier, including diameter and radius. And now we'll make one more sheet for the square. Go back to place views, get the square. And I think now is a good time to introduce dimension styles. The 3 styles over here are baseline, ordinate, and chain. What a baseline is, it'll take all your dimensions and reference it to the same line, which you'll see here. What an ordinate will do is it'll make marks all in reference to the same origin, indicated by this symbol here. Just like that. And now what chain does, chain dimension, it'll take all your dimensions and put them right next to each other. It's a good practice to dimension everything from the same point. For that, I'd recommend either baseline or ordinate. Chain isn't the most useful style, but an exception to that could be, say, the side of a circular part, for example. So now that we have drawings for all the parts, it's time to make an assembly drawing. Assembly drawings are different from part drawings in many ways. Assemblies generally have isometric views rather than orthographic. They also include balloon annotations and parts lists rather than dimensions. So to make the base view, you need to find the assembly. Pick this one here. And find an isometric view. Place it there. Now, the next step is to make a parts list. Parts list here. Click the assembly, click OK. And now you'll notice that each number in the list corresponds to a different part over here. And now all that's left to do is indicate those numbers on the assembly by making balloon annotations. Balloon annotations here. Clicking each individual part. And now you see that each of the components corresponds to the same part in the list. And I think this just about wraps up the basics of drawings. I do hope you found this video helpful. And as always, if you have any questions, leave a comment below, and I'll see you next time.